Starfield is Bethesda's most ambitious title to date, and in today's video we're going to be explaining everything that you need to know. We're going to be looking at the story, the setting, core gameplay features, and some of the stuff that have players incredibly excited for the release later this year. But before we do get into the video, if you want to stay up to date with everything Starfield, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's a lot to go over, so let's actually get into it. The setting for Starfield is set across the cosmos itself. This is the settled systems as it's known within game, which is approximately 50 light years from our very own solar system. Now it hasn't been 100% confirmed of how much of this we're able to explore, but it's safe to say that it's quite a lot. Bethesda have confirmed that Starfield will have more than 100 systems and over 1,000 planets. That is more than enough to keep players busy. Let's talk about the story. The story itself is also not 100% confirmed. It's a very close guarded secret at this point, although Bethesda have given out a few small details. We know that it takes place in the year 2330, 20 years after the two of the largest factions in the settled systems, the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective, engaged in a bloody colony war for territorial control. You'll assume a role of a member of Constellation, an organization of space explorers trying to navigate what remains of the aftermath. Now, as with most of Bethesda's games, your path is ultimately chosen. It is your path. Where you go and who you choose to side with is entirely up to you. And with this, we have already seen some of this in action. The Starfield dialogue and persuasion system has been revealed. We know exactly how it's going to play out and how you will be able to interact with a number of different NPCs, and you're able to have full conversations with them. Going through the story, this will reflect how it will end. How the story will go, the actions, the consequences, everything will come down to your decisions in gameplay as well as within dialogue. And there's way more dialogue within Starfield than what we've seen from previous Bethesda games. Just to put this into context, Todd Howard has confirmed that Starfield has over 4 times as much dialogue as what Skyrim had. And Skyrim, well, it was known for having a very good system for the time in which it was released. Now let's actually talk a bit more about gameplay. With gameplay, you can expect it to be similar to what we've had with previous Bethesda games. Look at Fallout or the Elder Scrolls games. And if you've played them, you'll know exactly what I mean. Wide open spaces, settlements, loads to explore, progression systems, reward systems, pretty much allowing you to do whatever it is you want to do. Except this time, slight twist in that you have loads of planets to explore. Now, the approach that Bethesda are taking this time around is much more of a realistic approach, but that's mainly through the assets in their creation. There will still be moments of fantasy, sci-fi, you name it, which will add a whole new layer and not just be a generic space game like people are comparing us to of the likes of No Man's Sky. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. If this is a space game, then there's obviously going to be spaceships and spacecrafts. And yes, there is. And as you would expect, you can customize them. This is not where you're just able to choose from a lineup of pre-made ships. You'll be designing your entire ship, building out its look, layout, and performance, giving you full creative freedom. There's supposed to be loads of ship customization options so that even though you are creating it from your very own and what you want to do, it's not the case of that you're limited to a certain degree. Of course, there will be a limit, but how far that goes really is just beyond our imaginations as of right now, because it's said to be quite a lot. Using the game's shipbuilding tools, you'll be able to place and customize individual modules from different ship manufacturers, each with their own performance attributes. So you will be able to create one of the wackiest and craziest ships if you wish to do so, but of course, bear in mind that it may not be the best in terms of attributes, but at the very least, it'll be your very own. Whilst we're on the subject of customization, it's not just limited to your ship. We're also talking about your weaponry, arsenal, any types of equipment, your character itself, all of these being incredibly in depth. The character creation itself is above what you would get from most customization options. There are loads of opportunities for you to really get to those finer details with your character, and once that's done, you can then start to look at skills and traits, which is an additional layer on top. This will add more depth to your character, but will also open up as well as close off opportunities and certain gameplay features as you're going through the game itself. When you are creating your character, you also have to choose a background, which will define your character's history. Some of the options which have been confirmed is a combat medic, a bouncer, professor, or a homesteader, each one associated with 3 starting skills. This is where you'll unlock medicine, lasers, persuasion, or bargaining. And depending what you do, where you go, who you talk to, these skills can benefit you or put you at a disadvantage depending on who you're talking to, unlocking exclusive content depending on the background, which certainly helps in terms of replayability if you're looking to go through this over and over again to explore different options. And this is also similar to traits. Now, traits is a win-lose situation. You'll be given a benefit, but there'll also be a consequence. There have been 3 traits that have been confirmed so far: Dream Home, Hero Worship, and Kid Stuff. And what I mean by it being a win-lose situation, for example, with Dream Home, you own a luxurious, customizable house on a peaceful planet. Unfortunately, it does mean that you're going to have to pay 50,000 credit mortgage with Gal Bank that has to be paid weekly. With Hero Worship, it sounds all good, except you will have an annoying fan which is just going to be following you everywhere, pretty much stalking you and then always looking to start conversations. With Kid Stuff, you unlock slightly more content because your parents are alive and well and you can visit them at their home, but that does mean that you need to support them, very similar to the dream house. So with this, 10% of all your money that you earn is deducted automatically and sent to them. With all of these, there are supposed to be a lot more than just the 3 that we've gone through, but hopefully you get the idea of it being a win-lose situation. You can get a lot of cool stuff, but also it comes with a negative. Outside of customization with the ships and the character, you can also expect there to be quite a lot of features that you have seen before in previous games from Bethesda to be making a return. There's going to be a lot of stealing, with you being able to pickpocket NPCs or even using lockpicks to get through doors. There's persuasion mini games. You'll be able to join factions, you can build outposts, and you will be able to recruit NPC companions. With the NPC companions, they are a lot more in depth than what we've seen in previous games from Bethesda. You can enlist a companion to join you on adventures, and they'll all have their own set of skills and abilities which could help you on your journey, but there's also going to be some stuff which may get a bit annoying. As you would expect, it's a win-lose situation. Not everyone is going to be an amazing companion to take along with you. But this will depend on the choice that you have available, because yet again, as there are dialogue options and the choices that you make will reflect on what will happen within the game itself, it does mean that there may be some people which just won't be a companion to you dependent on the choices that you make. Remember that there will be factions within Starfield. And of course, the second that you're going to join a faction, there will be clashes with other factions. So if there is a companion that you really wanted to play alongside with, it may be the case of you got to make the right choices to finally actually get to meet them, or you're going to have to complete the game that you're going through currently to then go all the way back to the beginning and go through it again, but making different choices until you finally get to play with them. And with all of this, Bethesda are not trying to put limitations on where this game will go after it is released. Following a Reddit AMA, they said, "Our plan is to have full mod support like our previous games. Our modding community has been with us for 20 years. We love what they do and hope to see more make a career out of it." Meaning that there are going to be plenty of mods over the years as more and more people create content for this game, which ultimately is just going to make it better and better and better. Some of you may be wondering, that's awesome. Going to be a lot of content available, a lot of things that you can do. Is there going to be a multiplayer to play with friends? No. This is a very ambitious title, as mentioned, over 100 systems and over 1,000 planets. Compared to previous titles that Bethesda have released, there is so much more here. And with that, they are not going to do a multiplayer. This is just going to be a single player game. Starfield will be releasing on Xbox Series X consoles exclusively and is set to release on September the 6th, 2023, unless there are any more delays. There have already been a couple delays. Originally, it was set for the 11th of November, 2022, got pushed back to the first half of 2023, and now we have the 6th of September release date. If you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend clicking the next video on screen. That video is also going over Starfield and is being specifically selected just for you. I hope you enjoy.